Today, we are going to talk about the man who pioneered the absolute funniest thing you could do. The fart. Yes, my friend, we are talking about Roland the Farter. This man existed in history, and we're going to tell you all about him and a couple of other people that pioneered the fart. I genuinely pulled a muscle on my back. Woo! Here we go. Old school entertainment. We are going back to medieval Europe to the 5th to the 15th centuries, like 1,000 years of farts. A time where kings and queens ruled and there were no iPhones, okay? There were no streaming services. There was no Netflix. There was none of that, okay? It was just the way to entertain was you got people out there and you farted into different type of mechanisms that made the fart sound even louder. And these were the genius comedians of the time. They found entertainment, farts, music, dinner parties, the theater. Everybody loved the theater. And if you were a king, you called up the local jester, okay? The local jester, like the modern day comedian, that's who you called in, okay? What's a jester? So, professional entertainer who performed humorous acts, told stories, sang songs, and usually performed tricks or acrobatics to amuse royal courts and noble households in medieval times. Being a jester, by the way, was no joke. If you did not do well and make them laugh enough, they'd kill you. Straight up, you'd get beheaded. Somebody should make a movie about a jester. Like, imagine the Joker type movie, but about like an actual medieval jester. Maybe rolling up like, and the sadness and the depression that came along with being a jester and like making you fall in love with this character. And then at the end, he might get beheaded by a king. Like, find an actual story where they had to kill a jester. Movie idea. Royals gathered in court. Okay, but they don't mean court like court of law. Back then, court was where they would conduct official business, okay? Like, it was just the nobles, the important people. They would gather to advise the rules, discuss the laws, and just make decisions that affect the kingdom or country and, you know, make the noble, straight white male elites just bigger and better. Yeah. So, medieval Europe, jesters were very often called to court to perform and entertain. During these, you know, heavy, serious business meetings, you needed to break it up. Just like we do today, you need to break it up. So we would call in the jester, make us laugh. They were prized. They were very important because they would ease the tensions and they would bring joy to this stressful court life. So it was a really like very important thing. Entertainment still that's why, you know, people get mad. Why do these actors, actresses, entertainers make so much money? Because you need them. They de-stress your whole life. If you didn't have that, I mean, dude, don't forget, you know, who did the Nazis kill first during the Holocaust? The entertainers, the comedians, the poets, anybody that would make life easier, they're like, get them out of here. So these jesters, extremely important. You're having, you know, these ancient kings and queens are having this discussion about, you know, what, you know, who they're going to behead next. You got to break the tension a little bit. Let's get in a jester. Let's get in some farts. One jester stood out amongst all the rest. We are talking Roland le Farter, famous jester who was known for his unique talent of flatulence, a.k.a. farting. King Henry II of England, ya boy, reigned from 1154 to 1189, and Roland was his jester, le Farter. There's no exact date, no time actual recorded in history, the first time Roland made King Henry II laugh with a fart. Nobody knows the very first time. I'm sure it was immediately. I mean, because farts are never not funny. Literally, if I put out a comedy special and I fart every 10 minutes, I'm number one forever. It's just nothing's really funnier than a fart. It's unfortunately... Because think about how funny that is how God made that. God didn't have to make your asshole so tight. He did not. He designed that on purpose. He made that asshole so tight and then the air to come out that the only thing that can happen is it could just make a sick sound. If he could even make your asshole open, then there's no fart sounds. So God is a comedian. God is the original jester. That's what he made it really nice and tight. How do we even know about Roland the Farter, right? So there was this 13th century English book called the Liber Fedorum, the Book of Fees, pretty much. And the way it would work is in exchange for Roland the Farter's performances, he received a large estate and he stayed in King Henry II's favor. Because the truth is, back in the day, if you didn't have land, you were pretty much invisible. You weren't even recorded in history. Nobody cared. So it was very normal for favored entertainers who served the king to be granted land as a gift. You're not getting money, you're getting land. And Roland was this, jester known for farting, our boy, Roland the Farter. So he got his manor, his estate, and lands through this feudal agreement called Serengeti. Sargenti here, spelled right there. So what in this type of Sargenti thing, instead of paying rent or providing military service, Roland would pay by performing for King Henry II. So he basically get paid by, he would fart and get paid. That's what he would jump around, he would jump, whistle, and then fart. He would just have this whole technique where he would jump around, sing a song, and then blast a fart into one of these flutes. And the place would go wild, okay? Wild. The most well-documented performance was called saltum, siffletum, pétomane, which was a jump, a whistle, and a fart. Unbelievable. And the king would request that this be performed every Christmas. What a way to celebrate Jesus' birthday. Merry Christmas. I think I just shit myself. Okay. Now, this guy literally lived in a mansion because he was good at farting. I remember one time on a podcast a couple of years ago, we were making fun of a girl. We're not even making fun of a girl. We're just talking about a girl who made all this money farting into jars. She's just an original jester. That girl is genius. She went old school. That's the thing. Everybody thinks in our society, oh, what they've done is new. You're doing nothing new, late. I mean, it's amazing. I actually bought a jar of your farts. Smelled delish. But just know that Roland the Farter was doing this in 1100. So based on fee ledgers, books that show how people were paid, these old books, they showed that Roland was possibly first working under King Henry and then with Henry II. So he might have been farting even for the king's father. When Henry III was in power, though, so you got Henry I and Henry II, loved this guy, but then Henry III, kind of a dick, didn't think farts were funny, he got dismissed. And most thought that King Henry III didn't find this farting funny. It's whack. Who doesn't like a fart? Okay, everybody loves a fart. I guarantee you want to stop the conflict in Palestine and Israel tomorrow? Get out there and start farting on the front lines. They'll fall in love with each other. You literally, Allah and Jesus can come to agreement with a fart. Just know that. Our farter who art in heaven, hallowed be thy fart. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who fart against us. Lead us not in temptation, through liberty and justice for farts. With this, because King Henry III was a dick and didn't think farts were funny, Roland had to now surrender his land and manor. Unbelievable. Where are all those farts going to go? Now those farts are just wasted. Roland was the leader of the farts. His role as court entertainer, he had this flat farting talent. It wasn't really unique, though. I'm going to be honest with you. He was the guy. He was Captain Farts. But other people did stuff like this, similar performers. They were brigadiers or farters. That's another name for a farter back then, a brigadier. So that's what I'm going to start calling it now on. I didn't fart, honey. I brigadiered. I brigadiered right on your chest. They were common in medieval Ireland as well. Canada, in Unum mythology, Matish Kapipu was known as the farting god. Powerful spirit with the ability to cause or relieve gastrointestinal distress at will. Regarded as a legendary shaman, this kid was a king of the farts in Canada. He was the Canadian king of the farts. Christian theologian St. Augustine of Hippo, this guy lived in 354. He mentioned performers who would control their farts to produce melodic sounds, which he described as singing, a beautiful singing, just a song from your asshole, without accompanying any odor. So a singing, stinkless fart. Very tough to do, but was done in antiquity. Japan had a farter. Japan's Edo period, 1600s to 1700s. There were flatulist performers. Tokyo street performers known as misomonos included individuals similar to those people you see in freak shows. One famous misomono star was Kirfuri Hanasaki Otoko. This was 1774. He had an ability to control and release air in an orchestrated fart performance. So he could hit it like a melody, like ooh, do, 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 do. And it was unbelievable. I wish I could go back in time and see this. And I really hope that this art form comes back. I really want this to be public I feel like, don't you feel like they were having more fun 300 years ago than we were having now? We have whatever we want. We literally, the poorest people in this country lived like kings back then, and they're just laughing about life, farting everywhere. And, I'm getting yelled at because I fart in church during my kid's graduation. We also, in Japan, in 1185, we had this group of people known as the Hepiri Otoko. They were called the farting men. Just the farting men who entertained the elites with fart dances. Get out there and do a fart dance. Most recently, that we could find, we do have a famous farter or flatulist, as they're called now. Le Pétomane. Le Pétomane literally means the maniac farter. The maniac farter in the late 19th and 20th century France became a celebrated entertainer for these unique abilities. Le Pétomane developed a technique where he could inhale air through his mouth and then push it out through his ass. So in the mouth, out the ass. His performances included squirting water over long distances right out of his rectum. So he could literally squirt water out of his ass right in the front row, bring a poncho, smoke a cigarette, okay, and then extinguish candles with his farts. He would squirt water out of his ass, he would smoke cigarettes with his ass, and he would extinguish candles with his farts. So today we just call that a gay man. Now, although farting and flatulism is less popular in modern times, there are a few people keeping the tradition alive right now, especially with the internet. Shout out TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. A lot of people out there are keeping Roland the Farter alive and well, and I appreciate that. Okay? You're just ripping farts, and that's what's funny about it. And you're just ripping farts. You're keeping Roland the Farter alive with, thoughts and farts. And I appreciate it, man. Shout out Roland the Farter, who could command a room with his butt, the original Kim Kardashian. Shout out those who continue to entertain through the years with a fart. I mean, again, it is nothing is funnier than a fart. Jesus made our assholes small and tight to be able to produce funny sounds to de-stress. And we yell at people when they fart. We should be applauding them. Shout out the fart. You are the funniest punchline ever. One more. Just to say goodbye, here we go. Save the best for last. There you have it. This was Christories. Yesterday was history.